Welcome back to Leading the Herd, proudly brought to you by Embryo, a global leader in bovine reproductive technologies. Bovine IVP, or IVF, is a powerful tool for genetic improvement, but success doesn't just happen in the lab, it starts and ends on farm. To get the best result possible from an IVP program, it's just as important for producers to get the fundamentals right as it is for your service provider. I'm Rebecca Arnott, and today I'm going to give you an overview of how to get started with IVP and give you an overview of the 6 key factors that you need to do on farm to get the best result possible from an IVP program. These include establishing clear breeding objectives, semen selection, selecting and managing donor and recipient cows, ensuring good nutrition, and having adequate facilities. I'll go into more detail on most of these topics in subsequent episodes. Let's start with establishing clear breeding objectives, and with this one I'll include having realistic expectations. Before investing in IVF, you need to establish clear breeding objectives that align with your farm's production system. Are you looking to improve milk quality and fertility in a dairy herd? Boost marbling, feed efficiency and/or calving ease in beef operations? Perhaps you're wanting to enhance heat tolerance for Northern Australia or remove the horn gene from your herd. You may want the simplest solution possible, i.e. no hormone injections and only once through the yards for OPU itself. You also want to ensure your objectives are achievable and expectations realistic. Discuss these with your veterinarian, geneticist and/or semen providers, as well as your target market point of contact. There's no point breeding an animal that isn't fit for purpose. As with conventional embryo transfer, it is important to understand that many variables can impact the success of an IVP program. Pregnancy rates can vary from 20 to 80% or more. While IVF success rates are improving rapidly, it's best to take a conservative approach and manage expectations accordingly. As a rule of thumb, average pregnancy rates tend to sit around 45 to 50%. However, anything below 35% would be considered unsatisfactory, whereas results above 55% are considered good. While it is not uncommon for results of 60 to 70% plus to be achieved, we recommend that you don't commence a program expecting this outcome. Fetal loss is slightly higher in IVF than with MOAT, so a true measure of success is the percentage of healthy live calves on the ground. What we can say is that producers who consistently do all the little 1% as well are the ones who get consistently good results. Secondly, semen selection along with storage and management are critical components for a successful bovine IVP program. The good news is that both conventional and sexed semen work well with IVF. Choosing the right bull genetics is paramount, given one store of semen can be used over oocytes from up to 10 donors, which could be anywhere up to hundreds of oocytes. Choose bulls with EBVs that match your breeding objectives, whether it's fertility, growth, marbling or poll traits, and only source semen from reliable providers. You want to make sure it comes from high health status bulls to reduce the risk of disease transmission, and you want to be assured that it has been stored and transported correctly. Thirdly, selecting and managing donor cows is a key component of a successful IVP program. While genetic merit is of course at the top of the list, it is important not to overlook other critical factors such as reproductive health and fertility, physical health and condition, age and life cycle stage, levels of stress, and previous IVF or MOAT performance. Oocyte quality has a significant impact on the outcome of an embryo program, and there is no doubt that high-quality oocytes come from well-managed donor cows. While a body condition score of 3 to 3.5 is recommended, it is more important to have donors on a rising plane of nutrition for approximately 3 months prior to OPU. This is how long it takes for an oocyte to grow from a dormant primordial follicle to a fully developed ovulatory follicle ready for fertilization. For the oocyte collection to be done on farm, most service providers require a minimum of 20 to 25 donors to justify bringing equipment and staff to your property. If you have fewer than the minimum number required, you may be able to team up with a neighbour or transport your donors to a collection centre where oocytes are aspirated from your donors along with others. Number 4 on the list is preparing and managing recipient cows for high pregnancy rates. Don't, whatever you do, think about buying cheap cows from the sale yards or using your culls as recips. Even the best embryos won't implant if the recips aren't right already. Select your recips carefully. Choose cows with regular reproductive cycles, good maternal history, and no history of calving difficulties. Minimise stress at all times and make sure they are on a rising plate of nutrition prior to embryo transfer to help sustain the pregnancy. Number 5 is the importance of nutrition. This cannot be overstated when it comes to optimising IVP success. And as I said earlier, this applies to both donors and recips. Cows must be on a rising plate of nutrition with good energy and sufficient protein to support follicular development and embryo survival. Minerals and vitamins are also critical for fertility and pregnancy maintenance, particularly selenium, phosphorus, and vitamin A. And lastly, having adequate facilities and equipment for on-farm OPU and transfers is important to minimise stress and maximise success. This includes having power, a well-designed cattle crush with a kick gate, and shade and water for the cattle. Having hay in the yards is also recommended to help reduce stress and maintain adequate levels of nutrition. Shade over the crush at OPU is really important, as sunlight can reduce the quality of oocytes. Dust must be minimised at all times, and this can also impact oocyte quality, and a very clean on-farm lab, in inverted commas, needs to be set up within a 5-minute walk or drive of the crush. This may be the kitchen, office or dining room of the homestead or office if they are close to the yards. But again, I cannot reiterate enough, cleanliness is paramount to minimise contamination and optimise results. To conclude, bovine IVP is not just about the science, it's about collaboration. Successful outcomes depend on a strong partnership that combines effective management both on the farm and in the lab. By setting clear breeding goals, selecting and managing the right donors and recipients, ensuring high-quality semen, providing proper nutrition, and maintaining the right facilities, you're setting yourself up for success. When all these elements come together, you will optimise pregnancy rates and drive long-term genetic progress in your herd. That's it for today's episode of Leading the Herd, brought to you by the team at Embryo. If you enjoyed this episode or learned something new, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your neighbour, fellow breeders, colleagues, or anyone looking to optimise genetic potential in their herd. For more resources, updates, or to learn more about how Embryo is poised to transform the way cattle are bred globally, visit our website, embryo.com, or follow us on your preferred social media platforms. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to having you join me next time on Leading the Herd. That's it for today's episode of Leading the Herd, brought to you by the team at Embryo. If you enjoyed this episode or learned something new, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your neighbour, fellow breeders, colleagues, or anyone looking to optimise genetic potential in their herd. For more resources, updates, or to learn more about how Embryo is poised to transform the way cattle are bred globally, visit our website, embryo.com, or follow us on your preferred social media platforms. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to having you join me next time on Leading the Herd.